Change is constant. To deliver a speech on transitional trends, industry economy to knowledge economy, let me invite Mr. O.A. Balasubramaniam, Senior Vice President IT, Roots Group of Companies to the diocese. Mr. O.A. Balasubramaniam is a member of IT panel CII Coimbatore, VP of Coimbatore Management Association, Chairman of Indian Plastics Institute Coimbatore. He is the former Chairman of Computer Society of India Coimbatore. So ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome him with a huge round of applause.
Hello. Good evening, friends. For a change, I don't have PPT. I want to share some of the statistics or points along with you, whatever we gathered through the industry. Today, definitely we have grown from the industrial economy to the knowledge economy. There's no doubt about that. We, the human beings, are living on this Mother Earth for the past many thousand years. We have been inventing technology from the inception. But if you see the pace at which it has been taking place in the last 100 and 150 years is unimaginable. You take any technology, nuclear power, atom bomb, medical, electronics, automobiles, aircraft, railways, telephones, television, electronics, computers, so on. So take anything. Particularly for the past few decades, the phenomenal growth in every sector on these technologies and its impact on every human life is unimaginable. And it is very high and we are witness to it actually. We are all enjoying the benefit of the technology, of course. Today, every one of us are leading a luxurious life than a 15th century king. Let me take an example and to facilities like communication. With the press of a button, we can talk to anybody on the other side of the world without much time, instantaneously. If we take food, we can enjoy Chinese or Mexican food from the same place. Travel, we need not explain about that. We all can come around this world within 48 hours. So acquiring knowledge, we can get tons and tons of information and knowledge through the television and the internet, and it goes on. So that is the power of knowledge economy. And information technology is an exciting industry to work with or to do business, especially now the economic powers are shifting and IT is becoming more global than ever. Let me give an example to this statement. In the recent history, it had clearly shown two eras. The first one was industrial revolution, that was the industrial economy. The next one is digital revolution, that is the knowledge economy. The industrial revolution was more confined to Western countries. We, India, didn't participate, so there was no gain from us from the industrial revolution. Whereas the current era, digital era, the knowledge economy, it was a global phenomena. We participated, we Indians gained a lot, and we continue to benefit out of this. The best examples are IT industries, communication industries, electronics industries, something like that. Sometime back, thanks to Steve Jobs, because of the knowledge economy, Apple was having more dollars and cents than the US government itself. That is the power of technology revolution or digital revolution, knowledge economy, of course. Digital revolution brought many companies to the top corporates in India also. For example, companies like Infosys, Wipro, TCS, HCL, Spectrumine, Reliance, Airtel, all those things companies, they surpassed the revenues of brick and mortar companies as they became number one. And the same revolution had made many people millionaires like Narayan Murthy, Premji, Sivanada, Nandan Nilekani, Bharat Mittal, and so on. They all became among the top 10 richest Indians who had these companies actually. The predictions and analysis shows that by 2018, India will have 3 lakh millionaires. That is the power of knowledge economy. Not only in India, the statistics shows that Indians founded 1/4 of the foreign IT companies in US itself. It may be in the form of a promoter, founder, or a co-founder. Almost all the big US technology companies are having technology pioneers from Indian origin, of course. So that was the technology growth, what we are seeing in our own eyes. Let me name a few Indians in this knowledge economy. Ajay Bhatt, some of you might be knowing, he is the father of USB standard, something that almost every one of us is using in some way or other in all our gadgets. And he is from Baroda and he holds 31 US patents. Vinod Dham, all of us knowing that he is the father of famous Intel Pentium processor. He is from Pune. And Vinod Khosla, he is the co-founder of Sun Microsystem. He is a Delhi guy. And Sundar Pichai, many of you knowing that he is from Tamil Nadu. After working for a small institute at McKinsey company, he moved to Google and he is currently overseeing the Android and Chrome and apps of Google. Sabir Bhatia needs no introduction at all. This Chandigarh-based guy is a techie. He is a founder of Hotmail, who sold his product to Microsoft. Vic Gunthora, the man behind the Google Plus social network, is an Indian origin from Mumbai. And Amit Sigal, he is a guy who is now taking care of the Google's core business of Google Search. And Santanu Narayanan, he is the chief executive of Adobe. And Om Malik, one of the fathers of technology, what is called a news blog. So the list is going on. There are few known women technologists also making histories in the world. Ruchi Sanghavi from Pune, she is the vice president of operations of Dropbox. Padma Sri Warrior is the Motorola chief technology officer. Now she is with the Cisco, and the list is going on like this. So these are all inspiration and motivation for every one of us. All of us heard about this Fortune magazine. In 2006 itself, they came out with an article, Indians and Silicon Valley. In those times itself, they were telling that 2.5 lakh Indians are working in Silicon Valley, but for Indians, the Silicon Valley would have been collapsed. That was a statement given in that article. So this is the status now, but things were different some time back, or early days. I am able to remember one incident told me by boss. So about 35 years ago, he got a chance to visit US. After landing US, the immigration officer was surprised to see an Indian talk in English. That was the scenario. Because many people around the world, they are perceiving India as a land of sadhus and snake charmers. That was the scenario. But today, some of you may be knowing that we at Roots, we are making horns. We are supplying our horns to Ford US. And our horns are going to the 3 plants of US. Sometime back, we sent one of our design engineer, that is service engineer, a mechanical engineer to US. The immigration officer, after seeing him, he was asking, are you a software engineer? So the information technology had changed the face of India totally. Previous speakers were mentioning about NASSCOM, the TCS person was saying NASSCOM. According to NASSCOM report, the Indian IT BPO is still very strong, and we are still in the global arena. We are the global leader. Last year, 2013, is a milestone year for India for IT BPO segment. We have crossed 100 billion mark revenue in IT BPO and achieved 109 billion. So 1 billion is equal to today's dollar price about 66,000 crores. Then you can calculate yourself what is the size of business we are doing it. The projection for 2020 is 225 billion in the IT and BPO sector. And this segment is creating a lot of employment also. Let us see the employment potential on this knowledge economy. There are about 31 lakhs people are working directly, and there are indirectly about 89 lakh people are working. Totally world over, almost more than 1 crore of Indians are engaged in IT and IT-enabled services. You will be surprised that IBM, they are also a major company in India. They are having more than 130 people, and every year they are adding 10% to their pool. If you take top 5 IT companies, their employee strength is almost 8 lakhs. And Infosys, TCS, Wipro, still they are ranking top 3 companies, not in outsourcing, not in India, in the world itself. So technology and innovation only can brought India to the census chair. That's what we are seeing it. So digital era is giving very good platform for our young Indians and student community. India is one of the country with more population of younger generation nowadays. We are set to become the youngest country by 2020 in the world, not China or any other country. That is statistics. If we ignite and inculcate these kind of innovative thoughts among the students and youngsters, we will get a tremendous opportunities for us. We have to take steps and prepare our students and youngsters towards the innovation and entrepreneurial thoughts. No doubt, if they study hard, they will improve their marks. If we create a platform for them to make an effort to interact with industry people and experts, definitely they will do better in interviews. But if you expose them these kind of seminars and conferences, certainly their knowledge will go up and they will get the entrepreneurial thoughts, and definitely this knowledge will expand. There is no doubt about that. And we should not confine, of course, and stop with their syllabus alone. We have to expose them to the upcoming technologies. Today, nobody is talking about PCs, nobody is talking about laptops or emails. They are all 20-year-old stories. Now people are talking about Evernote, Dropbox, SkyDrive, Dix, Torrent, Yammer, something like that. So, one suggestion or recommendation from the industry people like us is, let us make them to understand and explore future technologies or upcoming technologies. Like one such technology is SMAC. Some of you might be knowing about that. SMAC is an acronym for Social, Mobility, Analytics and Cloud. It is becoming a business reality world over. Social, let us talk about social. So, if we see the power of social media, immediately our mind will go to the Facebook only. Today, Facebook has 1.28 billion users. That is, 1 in 6 has a Facebook account. So, it is the second largest continent in the world. That is the power of social media. If you take mobility, mobile applications are the next gold mine for every one of us. There are about 86 crore mobiles in India. 70% of the people are having mobile phones in India itself. By end of the year 2014, the number of mobile phones all over the world is going to cross the population of 7 billion. So that is the statistics. And if you see, the iPhones and Android smartphones have changed the phone industry totally. And today's phones are not just phones, but something else. Possibly we can call them as a personal assistants or PDFs or something like that. So in the mobile market, all of you knowing that there are 3 major platforms are available: Android, iOS and WinOS. If you take the apps, Apple is having about 11 lakh apps as on today, and Android is having about 12.8 lakh apps. Windows is having about 1.4 lakh apps. Of course, Android is going to rule the entire market. That's what you are going to see. And the third thing is analytics. It is amazing to note that statistics shows that last 3 years data, whatever we have generated, is equal to the previous 30 years of size of data. That is an amazing growth what we are doing every year. Every 2 years, we are doubling our data size. In this ocean of data, it is a big challenge to get the required information and the required format for every one of us. See, we are always searching for the right data, right information. For example, each minute, 2 million searches are made at the Google search alone, leaving the other search engines. So definitely, analytics helps to dig the data from the huge ocean of business data. That is the third technology on the SMAC. And the fourth one is cloud. Yes, all of you might be knowing that cloud is going to change the entire business community in a different platform. And power of the cloud is known through the power of Google itself. I want to tell something about Google. Google is, of course, innovative company. The founder, Larry Page, is not an entrepreneur, but he is an innovator. Of course, he is an entrepreneur too, but again, he is an innovator. Let me share some of the experience, whatever I had last week. I was meeting one of the executives, Mr. Ankit from Google. He was telling that the first page, all of us are working, searching through Google search. The first page, it is just white page. Because of this football game and other things, there are some animations are there. Otherwise, it will be a white page with Google search, and I am feel lucky. For this white page, there are about 12 PhD doctors are working. That's what he is telling. After great research, they are telling that keeping simple and only that way is the best way. To identify that, they are keeping about 12 PhD scholars. That's what they are telling. And again, I am feeling lucky. Some of you might have seen it, and I have never used it actually. So the way they have kept is, if you click the I am feeling lucky, it will take to the first search of the Google search, whatever we have done it. they, for an experimental purpose, they removed it for a few weeks, and there are a lot of queries to Google to came, they restore it. That's what they were telling actually. And he was telling that there are about 23 lakh servers are at roots at Google all over the world. They are keeping it, and he is telling that 1,000 servers are added every working day. It is a mind-boggling statistics. And I can Google Maps, all of you might be knowing that. Last week I was traveling to Bangalore. In the afternoon, when I was from the airport, when I was searching for some place, it was showing about 40 minutes in the afternoon. And when the evening about 8:45, 9 o'clock, when I searched the same place, it was showing about 1 hour 20 minutes. So for the same place, it was showing two different timings. All of you knowing that. So Google, all of us are signaling agents for Google for their maps. So in real time, they are capturing the data about the traffic, about the weather conditions, whether it is raining or not. All those things they are calculating, and they are returning back the information. That is the power of Google search. And some of you knowing that now today Google is conducting a IO conference. It is happening every year. The event is happening at San Francisco. I think it starts tonight to Indian time. It is 25th and 26th it is happening. It is an amazing event. 17 parallel sessions are happening. It is telecasted all over the world, and it is free of cost. You can tell to our students. So video streaming is available. If time permits, you can watch, or you can tell to our students and the youngsters to attend. It is a great opportunity for every one of us. Friends, when electricity was invented, we were all thinking that it is only for lighting. But today, without electricity, we cannot live even a single day. So it has become, it is not a resource, but it has become a meta-resource. It has become a meta-resource for our life. Like that, today, internet had become a meta-resource for business, without which business cannot run. That is the thing. So today, business models are changing. When we are starting a business, everybody is thinking of making the business on the internet. For example, Flipkart, it overtakes many of the brick and mortar companies. It touched 800 crores business within 5 years, whereas it took almost lifetime of 40 years for a local company like us or a Pricol. They did it about 800 crores. It took about 40 years. So that is the power of the knowledge economy. That is the power of internet-based business models. We have to think innovative ways in doing the business or treating the business. We should change according to the change. In this world, nothing is permanent except change. We have to change for our survival. LinkedIn, all of us may be having the account. They conducted a study recently and they published it. They have indicated few office endangered species. That's what they have indicated. They are telling that 9 to 5 working hours is going to be endangered species. Office species going to be endangered. Fax machines are going to be endangered. Landlines, telephones, formal dresses, this will go off within 5 years. That's what they are telling. So like what we have seen some days back for telegraphs. So I would like to finish my address with a small example. All of us know that Switzerland is famous for watches. Sometime back, our speaker was telling about watches also. In 1950s, about 2,500 companies were making watches, that too employing about 80,000 people. Nowadays, only less than 300 firms are employed in the watchmaking industry, that too engaging less than 8,000 people. So we know the obvious reasons. Today, the biggest competitor for the Nokia digital camera is not the Canon, not the Sony, but the Samsung through their cell phones. We do not know where from the competition will be coming. The biggest glass manufacturer, Saint-Gobain, is a threat for the building material people because a lot of the building materials are converted into glass doors, glass panels, and something like that. Here, locally, if you see, the Charan Bukosi is not a competitor for Pi & Sons, but Flipkart, Snapdeal, or Amazon. That is a threat. So change is common to everyone. Some people spot it faster and wins. Unless we change, tomorrow is not for us. I would like to conclude with George Bernard's words. The best way to forecast the future is to invent it. That is the wordings. So let us have innovative thinking and entrepreneurial skills permeate everywhere in this country. Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you, Nadal.
Thank you, Mr. Y. Balasubramaniam, to deliver a wonderful speech on transitional trends. The facts and figures deserve a huge round of applause. I request our VP sir to honor the guest speaker. Thank you.